Good evening. Welcome to Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only LGBTQ plus daily evening television news, broadcasting live and available on demand. Available on all smart televisions, including Roku, Apple TV, Android TV, Amazon Fire TV, YouTube, and Facebook. It's time to queer up the news. First, we queer up breaking news. Man brings grenade into Wilton Manors bar, gets brought down by former Marine. The Corner Pub on Andrews Avenue in Wilton Manors is a quiet, friendly neighborhood gay bar away from the tourists and crowds of Wilton Drive. It was a shock to employees and patrons last night when a man entered the bar carrying a grenade, apparently upset with one of the other patrons. He also claimed to have several guns in his car. While bartender Joseph Shakespeare helped lead the other patrons out of the bar, former U.S. Marine Darrell Darling distracted the man. Darling knew that the owner, Anthony Henn, had already called the police. After the other patrons were clear, Darling led the man out of the bar where he tackled him so that the police could restrain him. The man has yet to be identified.
And just tell me what happened here.
I came into the bar. I've been coming here for a couple of years, 10 years or more actually. And when I walked in, one of the owners approached me and said, "The customer has a grenade. We need to be cautious and just pay attention." I said, "Well, who is it?" I wasn't really bothered by it. He said, "It's that big guy over there." I'm like, "Don't worry, just let him be. Don't bother him. Don't agitate him." And I went to the restroom. Nothing was going on. He was talking to some guy. I just butted in the conversation, tried to keep the gentleman distracted. The owners let me know, it was Anthony, who let me know that the police were on their way. They had contacted him. Everything stayed cool. Keep the guy completely distracted from whatever else was going on. As people started to clear the bar, I used certain intentions to just keep his focus on me while everybody cleared out so that we would be the last ones leaving the bar to make sure that everybody was safe before there was any other further action taken.
What were you doing? What were you saying?
He was agitated at somebody in the bar, was looking to pick a fight. He had shown me a grenade immediately as I had shown up, and I had seen this grenade. It looked real enough for me to have concern, but I didn't raise alarm. And we talked about drugs, having a cocktail. We connected and bonded on military service. He told me that he was former FBI. He had just retired from the police force in Miami. So we were able to find some sort of structural reports and discipline report in that manner. And basically keep him preoccupied with everything else that was going on. As the bar cleared out, he appeared oblivious to what was going on, but as people cleared out, like I said, I wanted to focus on me to make sure everybody was out of the bar. And upon myself exiting the bar, him in front of me, I made sure I was in a position to just, restrain his hands, put him in the ground, sweep his legs out, and hold him down until the police could come. And I could see the police were ready to take care of him.
This is going to sound so gay, but Mr. Darling is darling. He is so cute. Okay, so what are we talking about? What do you guys think? That a grenade at a bar here locally, at a gay bar?
No, am I that naive that you can get a grenade anywhere? Where do you get a grenade?
Bed Bath & Beyond.
No, bed grenades?
They got soap dispensers, that look like them. Yeah.
But how scary is that? Like, people, you're out for a night with your friends or by yourself, having a drink, watching a drag show, hopefully, and then some lunatic comes in and has a grenade. I mean, this is in Wilton, of all places.
Okay, but this is the world that we live in, Cal.
It's very scary.
Like, mental health is real, and a lot of people don't take care of their mental health, okay? Yeah. So you have to understand that you're at a bar, you're in a safe space, supposedly, but, you're there chit-chatting with someone next to you, and you really don't know why they're there, or what they've been through that day, or what's going on in their minds. To get into a fight with another patron and then say, "Oh, I've got guns in the car also," in this day and age, you just can't do stuff like that,
Yeah, and Darling was so calm and collected. He's like, "I was just keeping the attention on me." I would have been like, "Ah!" I was just like, grenade. I would have been the first one out the door.
Can we acknowledge that, of course, it's a gay bar because the bartender's last name is Shakespeare?
Right.
And the patron's last name is Darling.
That's awesome.
No, but it's a serious story, and I'm sorry for making fun of it because the guy was obviously very handsome. But, lucky thing for the patrons, lucky thing for the people working there that the gentleman there sitting there was an ex-Marine and was calm, like you said, Patricia, because at that moment, I'm the one like you. I'm the one screaming. I need a Marine to go, okay, Walk your happy ass out, nice and calmly, and we'll get through this.
Yeah, and it's a
Right.
good thing for, the good Samaritans that are around us and it's so important to, if you see something or hear something, you say something.
Yeah.
And it keeps everyone safe.
Yeah, you just never know.
Never know.
And why take that chance?
Yeah.
So, folks, it's Wednesday, August 17th. It's 8 p.m. We are live and literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we're going to tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
This is the world's first live daily LGBTQ evening news show, literally out of the closet and into the headlines on Queer News Tonight with Al Ferguson.
I'm your anchor at Queer News Tonight, FayWhat? This evening, we bring you the news of and perspective representing the LGBTQ plus community from South Florida, America, and across our planet.
This is the world's first and only unedited live LGBTQ plus evening news show. Whatever happens, unique in LGBTQ plus news, you will see it and hear it.
Happening Now Television Network is a 501c3 nonprofit media platform in the television and radio model of PBS and NPR, but designed for our LGBTQ plus community.
We are part of one of the largest LGBTQ plus media companies in America, Hotspots Magazine and Happening Out Television Network.
Our magazine is celebrating 36 years of the LGBTQ plus experience, and our television news, talk, and entertainment shows support our mission to educate the LGBTQ plus and broader community.
Yes, so let's begin by welcoming our anchors. We'll begin with anchor Kal Gajraj. Kal is a communication executive and adjunct professor. He also was honored with a Bronze Telly Award for his work as an anchor with the Happening Out Television Network. Good evening, Kal.
Good evening, Faye. It's great to be back.
You know how much I love you. The other day we went to, where did we go to? We went to
The War on the Catwalk.
We went to War on the Catwalk, and somebody called out FayWhat, and then said Kal what? I said, no, they're already calling you Kal what? I love it.
Remember how we almost got hit by bologna by Jimbo?
Who does that? Jimbo
so
threw
crazy.
bologna, like actual bologna, like it smelled and everything. My vegan friend was like dodging and like hitting the floor. It was a thing. There's videos on our social media. Make sure you go watch them.
Yeah, we had a great time. Let's welcome anchor Patricia Hernandez. She is a founding partner of Rotella and Hernandez, a full-service immigration and family law firm. Throughout her career, she has received multiple awards for her advocacy work for immigrants and the LGBTQ plus community. Currently, she is the chair of the Miami-Dade County LGBTQ plus Advisory Board and the first vice president of the American Immigration Lawyers Association, South Florida chapter. Welcome, Patricia.
Thank you. It's good to be back. Let's welcome
you. We've missed you, Miss Patricia.
I know, I miss coming here.
You've been traveling the world, you and your beautiful wife, Miss Nora.
Yes, we love to travel, and we always say we work so that we can afford traveling.
Nice.
Well,
That's our life.
Well, I lived through your pictures. If you follow them on social media, you saw these ladies were everywhere that you haven't gone.
Thank you. Let's welcome anchor Dan Rios. He is the director of the LGBTQ plus marketing for the Greater Miami Convention and Visitors Bureau, the official destination marketing organization for Greater Miami and Miami Beach. Joining their marketing and tourism division in 2002, Dan is considered one of America's top experts on LGBTQ plus travel and tourism. Welcome, Dan.
Well, thank you. Thank you. So great to be back. Let's welcome anchor Maxx Fenning. At just 17, Max founded amazing nonprofit organization PRISM that works to expand access to LGBTQ plus inclusive education and sexual health resources for LGBTQ plus youth in South Florida. Now at 20, Max is a senior at the University of Florida and serves as PRISM's president. He is at the forefront of the fight in Florida over Don't Say Gay. Good evening, Max.
Good evening. Happy to be here as always. Just a heads up that today is Nonprofit Day. So make sure if you have some change to spare, send it PRISM's way. It's www.prismfl.org/donate. But with that being said, we are the reporters for Queer News Tonight, and this evening we begin with the queer headlines for Wednesday, August 17th.
Let's begin by queering up South Florida and Florida. Equality Florida slams Jacksonville for removing safe space in schools. Some DeVal County, Florida teachers say their planning week was spent peeling LGBTQ plus safe space stickers, rainbows, and other signs of support for LGBTQ plus students off of their walls. Duval School says that this is part of a rebranding of, quote, all-in-4 safe schools that complies with the Parental Rights in Education bill by not referencing gender or sexual identity in a statement. The civil rights group Equality Florida wrote, quote, as Duval County public school students begin their first day of school, they are returning to classrooms that have been stripped bare of all visible support for LGBTQ+ students. Last week, the school district's leadership held an emergency meeting with school principals in which they were directed to remove all posters, wall decorations, and stickers that support and affirm LGBTQ+ students, end quote.
This is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, when you do things like this, it sends a message that LGBT people aren't welcome. And I know that Duval County said that they were going to be, rebranding these safe space stickers to remove the rainbow. And this brings me back to, when I was in a leadership position in my high school GSA, we had, we did Day of Silence, and people said, well, why don't we have a straight Day of Silence? Why do we need something specific for gay people? And it's like, we have general anti-bullying measures and anti-bullying, assemblies and things like that. We need things that are specific for queer people because that experience is so unique and it compounds on top of that other bullying that students receive.
Yeah.
And also how hurtful, like it just, the continued erasure of our community is, it angers me so much because, I'm an adult now and I can speak out, but, if I had children, just the fact that they wouldn't be able to talk about me in school or, it's just so hurtful. And why can't we just be, right? Why do we have to be erased? Like any trace of us just erased or being mentioned in schools. It's just really sad and sickening. And I just tell everybody, remember, we have the right to vote and please go vote because we can change things if we go and vote.
You're so right. But what you said, it really hit home. It's like, we're adults. We can deal with all that crap, or we are dealing with all that crap. But everybody at this table, including you, Max, you remember being 10, 11 years old and just, you were different, right? You knew you were different, and there were some things that maybe you couldn't talk to your parents about, right? And that stupid little rainbow sticker told me it was okay to go talk to this person, this adult in school, and you just took that away from me. I remember being a kid and just, I'm 6 feet tall, folks. I was 6 feet tall at 10. Okay, so let's just say that I had, I was bullied and I felt, and I knew
just as loud.
And I was just as loud, right? So 6 feet tall, 10 years old, and loud. Those things don't go together. In Jersey, you get beat up for that, and gay, But I had that teacher. Of course, she was a drama teacher, but I had that teacher that I was able to go to and say, I'm different. I don't know what it is because I was afraid to say the word, but I'm different. And she just automatically knew. And so that's where I would go for lunch so I wouldn't get bullied. That's where I would go for after school so I wouldn't get bullied. That was my safe space. So now to know that other kids won't have that, it's heartbreaking.
Yeah, and kids have a lot of pressure going to school these days. And I can't imagine what it's like to be in elementary, middle, or high school now. And thinking back to when I was in elementary school and thinking that I was different. I didn't know what gay was and I didn't know who to talk to about it. I just knew that I was different and that I couldn't say anything about it because I didn't know who to talk to because I didn't want to be judged or I didn't want to be bullied. I didn't want, to be made fun of. And to take this away from kids now, it's already hard enough growing up in this country and going to school and, having the fear of school shootings now, being bullied, and, now, our LGBTQ plus kids that are in schools don't feel safe because they don't have anyone that they can talk to and they can't even openly be themselves. It's very sad.
And that rainbow symbol, I grew up in a different country that didn't exist, but I was starving for that. I was starving to identify people that I could actually be honest and genuine with. Yeah. And I feel for the teachers because the teachers are there to actually help the students, and this is being pushed on them as well.
Yeah, and the teachers are afraid of losing their jobs, first of all.
Completely.
So the districts, the teachers, the administration, they're going above and beyond what they're not even being asked to do this from a state level or a federal level. They're just doing it because they want to fly under the radar.
And they don't want to be sued because this bill allows them to be sued.
Right.
Like a parent can go and sue the school and the teacher.
And it was so disheartening when they say, oh, we're rebranding it to remove the rainbow, and they say because we don't want to be pushing a political ideology. My existence is not political. My existence is not an ideology. It's been made that way. It's been politicized. I don't want to be politicized. Queer youth don't want to to be politicized. We want to live, we want to love who we want to love, and have that be that, and be able to do that in a supportive space.
And we don't own the rainbow. The rainbow does not belong to us, all right? Like, oh, once we're gay, we all have a rainbow tattoo on our asses. No, it doesn't belong to us.
You don't have one?
Mine's a little... I won't talk about mine. You know, and going back to the teachers, those poor teachers, you know, because we have some anchors that are teachers, and they love their children. Like, those students are their kids.
Yeah. That's
you
why
know,
they do it.
They call them, they don't do it for the money.
That's for sure.
They don't do it for the money. So this story is very sad.
Yeah. Next, let's queer up the USA View. Rural Iowa town destroys itself over Harvey Milk and his book. The fight in Logan, Iowa began when the Logan Public Library showcased a children's book titled Pride, the story of Harvey Milk and the Rainbow Flag by Rob Sanders during Pride Month. A 5-page long homophobic letter began to appear taped to the doors of library board members and city officials' homes. The letter read in part, quote, "Please weigh the consequences of your decision to display this book. The American Library Association clearly had an agenda to push homosexual ideas. There are no resources on exiting the homosexual lifestyle, only ridicule of themselves," end quote. Again.
You know, here we go with this agenda again. You know, they're always saying about an agenda. And it's like, if this was effective or true, we would all be straight. You know, because we were surrounded by people.
Because we were so groomed. Right? We were so groomed by the straight agenda.
That's insane.
And as an educator in higher education, and I've also worked in the K through 12 system as an administrator, there is no gay agenda. I've mentioned this before, it's not in any curriculum found in any school, in any district, in any state in this country. It is something, it's a talking point that the GOP has created, that they talk about how they teach gays in school, they teach, you know, gay, lesbian education in school, and they're grooming the kids to be gays, and it's just not true. It's not true, and we need to come out there and we need to start battling these, you know, false claims.
Right, and you know, in the comment that there should be an exit strategy, as if it was a choice, right?
Exactly.
Like we chose to be, you know, LGBT.
Marginalized.
Right, I chose to be gay, so I should, you know, they should teach me an alternative to not being gay. You know, it's just the, you know, words matter when words are being used, right? And just that there should be an exit strategy. You know, I'm sorry, I am who I am. I can't exit who I am, right?
Of course not.
It's just ridiculous.
Oh yeah, and this book has been in their library since 2018, people. Okay, that's 4 years ago, and now you want to take it out of the library?
Yeah.
What do you think,
Well, because
Max?
it's this whole national move towards our community. Let's erase our community. Let's, you know, how do you reinvent history by getting rid of the past, right? And the stories of the past, and this is what's happening.
Can we talk about?
I think that being able to see yourself, in literature, being able to see yourself in television and movies, you know, in politics even, though that is so meaningful to be able to have a mirror to look at. They say that it's mirrors and windows, right? So being able to see other communities and to be able to see your own community reflected back at you is so important to understanding others, to understanding yourself, and to really being just a healthy person.
Yeah. Well, I wonder if that library has the Bible in it. You should probably take that. That's got like all kinds of bad stories in it. You know, I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. Yet they will still continue to teach us about Christopher Columbus in history. All right. I mean, why do we even have that day off? It was all about raping and pillaging people. But yeah, Christopher Columbus, let's do that. But let's not talk about the gays, because then, you know, that's bad.
And I want to reiterate that LGBT history is American history.
American history.
It is a foundational part of American history. We've built our own community, but we've also contributed in so many ways to broader American history as a whole. And to be able, and you know, to say that is something to discount, that is something to censor, you're cutting out a whole piece of our country's history.
Yeah.
Absolutely right.
Definitely. Now we cure up education. Fargo schools recruit Florida teachers to work. Escape DeSantis, don't say gay. Fargo School Superintendent Dr. Rupak Gandhi, Fargo School Director of Equity and Inclusion Dr. Tamara Olsman, Fargo City Commissioner John Strand, and Democratic North Dakota State Representative Joshua Boucher recently wrote a letter that they are distributing to Florida teachers. The letter's goal is to show support for the LGBTQ plus community in Florida and to allow teachers to join a community with a job that allows them to show their support. The letter ends with the text, quote, In summary, please know the Fargo public schools and public sectors within the greater Fargo community not only offer a welcome to you, but also offer actionable examples of our commitment to becoming an inclusive community that LGBTQ plus people can call home. Reach out if you have any questions or want to learn more, end quote.
You know what was so annoying, like what just made my blood boil, is the immediate response from all of the, from DeSantis' press secretary and all the people who sponsored it. The bill doesn't say gay.
Yeah.
That was the first thing they said.
Shut up. Like,
yeah. No, and then the next thing they said was no person would choose to leave Florida for North Dakota.
You know what?
And I was and I go, you know what, bitch? I probably would think about it. I mean, if I was a teacher, if I was an LGBTQ plus teacher and I was being offered something like this in a safe place, I would maybe think about it.
Yeah, and I mean, number one, we have a huge shortage of teachers in the state of Florida, first of all. And the state of Florida has been running a campaign for years, and their campaign was always Teach by the Beach.
Oh.
So they would try to recruit teachers from all parts of the country to come down to Florida to teach. So it looks like we have to connect a realtor in Texas to the folks in North Dakota, so we can get them to move there. But
did you guys ever see Fargo?
Yes.
Yes.
Of course.
Yeah? I don't know. This place doesn't look so bad.
I mean, it doesn't look so bad. I mean, think about it. On a teacher's salary, your dollar would probably go a lot further in Fargo than it does here in Florida, where rent is so expensive. We don't even have housing. And, okay, so you're next to the beach and stuff like that, but a teacher's salary here in Florida is really not enough for the living expenses, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It should be, but it's not. So teachers, think about it, and maybe we just have, a whole new, really up and coming LGBTQ community. It'll be the next happening spot in Fargo, North Dakota.
It'll be Fargo, hey! Fargo, hey!
It's also so important, and I love that they're doing this because at a time that we feel that our world is sort of closing in and becoming unfriendly, to actually have a hand reach out to you and say, okay, you're welcome here. There's still people that are sane and willing to have you and welcome you here is a great thing.
Yeah.
Are we surprised that a place like Fargo is ahead of us here? I was doing a little bit of research, and they have like a police liaison between an LGBTQ plus liaison team that works with the police department to just better understand the relationship between LGBTQ plus and policemen. That was one of many endeavors that they have started to support their LGBTQ plus community. And I was just super surprised by it. I mean, this is Fargo. This is that woman with all the snow and the wood chipper.
Well, we have an LGBTQ police liaison in Miami-Dade County.
Yeah, we
Just
have it
putting
in
it out there.
Broward County as well.
And it's so needed and so important.
But what was really sad is when they started getting pushback from people in Florida, or from Republicans in Florida, I should say. They started hedging everything that they're saying. They've come out with this firm position of saying, we support you, yada yada yada, and then they say, well, we didn't say that the bill was bad. Like, we're just and saying and sort of double back. And it's like, if you want to support people, queer teachers, or teachers that want to be able to teach in a queer affirming space, do that and do it with your chest, right?
Yeah.
Don't mind Joe Harding. Don't mind Ron DeSantis. Do it with your chest.
And go for it.
Okay, so let's queer up sports. The Commonwealth Game goes all in on LGBTQ plus rights. The Commonwealth Games Federation started the 22nd Games without Olympic diver Tom Daley carrying the torch into the stadium for the Queen's Baton Relay, the CGF's equivalent of the Olympic torch. He was surrounded by activists carrying pride flags. The CGF has used their final relay carriers to bring attention to social issues for several years now, and Tom Daley wanted to draw attention that same-sex relations are still illegal in 35 of 54 members of the Commonwealth, the modern-day remnants of the British Empire. Katie Sadlier, the CGF's chief executive, told BBC that countries where same-sex relations are illegal will be less likely to be chosen to host events in the future, saying, quote, "Human rights and inclusiveness is ingrained in our Constitution. Our membership absolutely values the values that we have, and they were central to our bidding process, so that would definitely be taken into consideration," end quote.
What do you think?
Good for them.
Yeah, I mean, that's,
I applaud that.
That's how
that
you are able
100%.
to make a difference, and be noticed and make a statement. I think is brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah, but we've had events like this in places that are not gay friendly, and those poor athletes go out there and they still represent their countries in a country that they have no laws that protect them.
Yeah, I don't know what the stats are, but imagine the amount of LGBTQ plus athletes we have, across the world, not even like representing your country, but and the Olympics stands for something so incredible, and you're able to go up and represent your country and now be your true authentic self. I think that's such an incredible honor. And I know a lot of these countries, my family's from one of the Commonwealth countries as well. Not that they can ever afford to host a Commonwealth game, but nevertheless, it's a lot of them are just staying part of the Commonwealth until the Queen dies, and they all pretty much know that out of respect for her, and then they're all going to break off from the Commonwealth. But until then, I think a lot of movement needs to happen in a lot of the Caribbean countries, because that's where a lot of these countries are that LGBTQ. The community is still, in the closet, and they don't feel safe, and they're still getting arrested, and they're still getting
because there's still a lot of laws in the books that criminalize, same-sex sexual intercourse. This kind of stuff. So yeah, I mean, it would be good. I'm glad that they're taking the stance. Let's hope that they don't back down as the pressure would be put on them. And it would be nice if the Olympics themselves did this, right? They just had the Olympics in China, and we all know all the human rights violations that occur in China constantly. And so hopefully, if we got, like bigger companies and these places that host these huge events to really stick to it and say, you know what, we're only going to hold our events in places where, it's going to be inclusive, right? Everybody's going to be welcome and people can be their true selves. That would really be great. And I hope I get to see that in my lifetime.
I think you will, honey, because especially look what happened to Brittany Griner, right? I mean, like, being a professional athlete that, right, she had already gone to Russia 1,000,000 times and played for them, correct? Right, and then she gets caught with this this vape thing, and now she's going to be there for 9 years in jail. If I was a LGBTQ plus athlete, I would think twice before going and working somewhere in a country that doesn't guarantee my safety.
Right, and it's such a risk, because with the Brittany Griner situation, I mean, she had 0.7 grams. They normally it's like it's
only, Cal, how much is that?
Normally
0.7 grams.
Normally it's only I think it's like a 15-day sentence or something, up to like 6 grams or something ridiculous like that. And we know it's because she's queer. It's because she's a person of color. Yep. Right, and that's why. And it's absolutely, it's so ridiculous. Yeah. It's so ridiculous. Well, next, let's queer up business. Gay realtor launches website to help LGBTQ plus to flee Texas. Bob McCraney, a gay realtor in Dallas, has launched Flee Texas, a website that helps LGBTQ plus families find homes in more accepting states. The website not only helps them sell their current home, but connects them with LGBTQ plus realtors in other states. As Texas Governor Greg Abbott continues to pass laws restricting the rights of trans individuals, including laws that require parents of trans children to be investigated for child abuse, it is becoming a dangerous place to live for some families. McCraney said, quote, "A lot of people don't remember what it's like to be an illegal person. Families with trans kids need to get out of this jurisdiction now," end quote. You can reach the website at texaspriderealty.com/flee Texas.
Okay, who's going to start Flee Florida?
FayWhat.
You know what though, and it's something that I felt very passionate about as we're talking about. Oh, I need to get out of this state. Oh, all this other stuff, or I'm going to help people get out of this state. And I understand there's a lot. It's dangerous living in Texas and in Florida, and only getting more so. But what I think people don't recognize is even if we got every single queer person out of Texas and got every single queer person out of Florida, being gay, being trans is something that you're born with, and queer people are going to continue to be born in Florida with all of these terrible laws, not to mention the fact that there are so many queer people currently living here who don't have the money, don't have the financial means to pack up shop, not to mention a lot of them have grown up here. They consider it home, and it's ridiculous to make that the ultimatum, right? That we're going to leave all of these other people behind, and that they either have to get out of Dodge or stay here and have their rights continuously stripped away.
No, you're absolutely right, Max. But for those people that do have that option, it's wonderful that they did this app. You know what I mean? If I was in Texas and I had Boku bucks, I'd be like, wow, this is great. Someone's going to get me and my family to a safe place where we will be appreciated and loved.
Yeah, in particular when families are involved, because when you have your children and you really want to protect your child, especially if you have a trans child. You know, you don't want to put them through even more difficult situations than they're already facing. So I think that that may be a good option for them as well.
Well, especially now here in Florida, now that Medicaid won't cover any of the hormone blockers, et cetera, there are children right now that are just going to stop their meds just like that. You know, I mean, if one of those children were mine, I would really have to sit down and figure out, okay, do we have to leave the state for her sake, for her or his sake?
And not to mention the fact that even beyond Medicaid, we have the potential. I mean, the Board of Medicine just voted to start the rulemaking process to potentially, you know, ban puberty blockers and hormone replacement therapy for anyone under the age of 18, regardless of whether they can pay for it or have insurance, private insurance to cover it.
Well, and like you were saying before, Patricia, of the teachers being scared, also the doctors and the nurses are scared to treat any of our LGBTQ plus youth because also they're afraid of DeSantis, they're afraid of losing their licenses, they're just afraid. So they are staying under the radar also.
Yeah, when I read this story, I just felt so sad because I was like, you know, in my mind, just thinking like, imagine whole like counties with no mention or anybody ever, you know, interacting with somebody who is part of the LGBTQ community. Like, how sad to think that. And then in my, I guess, immigration mind self, thinking, wow, imagine if everybody just moves to like a certain state. I wonder what rules they would impose on that state, right? Like if we're all cornered into like living in one particular area, like it seems to me like we're being ostracized, even though we're all United States citizens, right? And we're all or legal in some way that we're able to be in this country, right? We have immigrants who come to this country to be accepted for their sexuality. I mean, I can't tell you how many immigrants I represent in asylum proceedings because they were being persecuted for their sexuality and their gender identity. So to think that this country is now going back, right, and that we might not even be a safe haven from people coming from abroad and not even being a safe haven for our own citizens is really, really sad to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I'll ever go to Texas.
No, and I mean, we're based in Florida, and everyone knows that it's a predominantly red state, but I couldn't see myself moving from Florida to go somewhere else, you know, even if it was a blue state, you know, just because of that, I would want to stay here and fight because I would want to educate, you know, people and, you know, participate in local politics and just be able to spread that advocacy, you know, to other people, just to be a little bit more open-minded and hopefully change a vote.
Yeah, but I think that you would feel differently if you had children.
Probably.
You know?
Probably.
Yeah,
Because then it would be like, okay, I'm living for my children. My children need to live their true authentic self and I can't do it here. I'm getting the hell out of Dodge.
You have to do the best for your family.
Yeah.
Right. Next, we are proud of our special partnership with Sunshine Cathedral, the world's largest queer church here in Fort Lauderdale. Supporting that partnership, we are broadcasting from our permanent set here at Sunshine Cathedral at the Happening Now television studios. We broadcast Sunshine Cathedral Sunday international service at 10:30 a.m. with more than 30,000 watching every week.
This is Mo Laredo, local law enforcement in South Florida, and Sunshine Cathedral is my queer church.
Mo, thank you for your service, sir. We finished tonight's Queer News headlines with a segment we call LGBTQ plus 1 Minute News.
LGBTQ plus 1 Minute News. Let's queer up the worldview. From LGBTQ plus news partner Attitude Magazine and writer Emily Maskell, Manchester gay village journalist has homophobic verbal abuse attack. A journalist was the subject of homophobic abuse on Friday, 12th of August, in Manchester's gay village, a local that prides itself on LGBTQ plus acceptance. Daniel McLaughlin, a podcast producer based at the Manchester Evening News, was shouted at and shoved into the side of a taxi after a night out, although thankfully was left without serious injuries. McLaughlin, 28, identifies as bisexual and was wearing a rainbow badge and standing with his non-binary friend on Sackville Street when a man thought to be in his early 20s approached them. Read the full story at attitude.co.uk.
LGBTQ plus 1 minute news. Let's queer up sports. From LGBTQ plus news partner Edge Media Network and writer Killian Malloy. First out NFL player Carl Nassib signs in Florida. Carl Nassib was with the Las Vegas Raiders when he came out as gay, becoming the first active NFL player to do so. Now he signed to a one-year contract with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the team he was with before coming out. USA Today reported Nassib, 29, has, quote, agreed to a one-year deal, end quote, according to ESPN, which broke the story. USA Today recalled, quote, Nassib came out June 21st of last year in an Instagram post and almost announced a $100,000 donation to the Trevor Project, which works to eliminate suicide cases among the LGBTQ plus community, end quote. Read the entire article at edgemedianetwork.co.com.
LGBTQ plus 1 minute news. Let's queer up drag culture. From LGBTQ plus news partner Metro Source and writer Alexander Rodriguez. Monét Exchange is oversharing. Monét Exchange may have been voted Miss Congeniality for RuPaul's Drag Race Season 10, but gentility and manners aside, she has plenty to say and is taking it on the road with drag sister Bob the Drag Queen for their sibling rivalry tour. Be afraid, be very afraid, quickly becoming a fan favorite for her looks, quick wit, and kitchen sponge couture. She has returned to the Drag Race universe for All Stars, guest lip sync assassinations, and tours, and has expanded her brand as an entertainer to not only include drag and reality TV, but consummate podcaster and recording artist. Her bigger-than-life personality and cutting dry humor started at an early age. Catch the full interview at metrosource.com.
LGBTQ plus 1 minute news. Let's queer up LGBTQ plus civil rights. From LGBTQ plus news partner Philadelphia Gay News and writer Tim Suick. Disturbing reports suggest homicides of gay men won't be reported as hate crimes. The high-profile deaths of Nasir Johnson and Eric Pope won't be reported as hate crimes, despite calls for such reporting by multiple advocates, a police official confirmed last week. Johnson, 20, allegedly was shot in the neck by Killen Pratt, his closeted lover, on February 18, 2022. Then Pratt allegedly transported Johnson's body to Glendining Rock Garden in Fairmount Park, where he set it ablaze on 2 consecutive evenings. When a passerby discovered Johnson's corpse on February 20th, it was burned beyond recognition. Investigators had to obtain DNA from the corpse's spleen to determine whether it was a male or female. Get the full story at epgn.com.
LGBTQ plus 1 minute news. Let's queer up the worldview. From LGBTQ plus news partner Pink News and writer Josh Milton. Anti-LGBTQ plus hate crimes explode across UK is ominous warning for America. Reports of homophobic hate crimes more than doubled in 5 years, shooting from 10,003 in 2016 to 2017 to 26,824 in 2021 to 2022. In the past year, the figure soared by 32%, the biggest yearly rise since record-keeping began. Transphobic hate crimes similarly swelled by 240%, from 1,292 reports in 2016 to 2017 to 4,399 5 years later, and what is also believed to be the largest increase ever seen by the authorities. Get all the details at pinknews.co.uk.
So that is today's news for the LGBTQ plus community on the world's first and only daily LGBTQ plus evening news show.
If our community is important to you, share this news with your friends and family. Are you, like most of America, part of our very large television audience, watching this live LGBTQ plus news broadcast right now on Roku, Apple TV, Android TV, and Amazon Fire?
Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ plus digital television show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines. We need your support. If our community is to grow, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world.
This is the only place in the world that tells these types of LGBTQ plus stories in motion and sound. That's the passion of Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network, and Queer News Tonight.
I'm your anchor, FayWhat, filling in for the unfillable Al Ferguson. And on behalf of these LGBTQ+ reporters, the anchors of Queer News Tonight, including Kal Gajraj, Patricia Hernandez, Dan Rios, and Maxx Fenning. We will see you daily at 8 p.m. To our LGBTQ+ world, we wish you
LGBTQ+ news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Lara are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out television network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure the growth of the entire